Good morning, everyone. I'm Greg Melchin, the chair of Enmax board, and I want to welcome everybody to our Enmax annual shareholder meeting. We're yet awaiting attendance of our mayor, which we'll hear from lately, but we thought we'd start our meeting nonetheless. In the case he's not able to make it here, Deputy Mayor Jeff Davidson will be here on his behalf. Apparently. So I'm told anyway. We are delighted that you would join us today at our annual shareholder meeting with City of Calgary Council and open to all Calgarians. The results of our operations and performance for the year we'll have an opportunity to discuss and review from last year. We're scheduled to end by 10:30 this morning, and as chair of the meeting, we'll make sure that we have time for not just the formal presentation and also to hear from our CEO, Gianna Manis, on the operations for last year, but also to allow for time for question and answers after the presentation. We'd like to welcome those who have joined us here at our Downtown District Energy Center. We've had this facility, or had our annual shareholder meetings here for a few years now, and it really is the best place that we could probably hold this one in close to downtown, showcasing one of our facilities. At Enmax, everything we do has a highlight of safety, and just as a reminder for everyone here, in the unlikely event of an emergency, we'd ask everyone if they would exit the building the same way they came in, just exit towards the back of the room, but please do so in an orderly fashion in case we do, to avoid any accidents and the like. Safety really has been a high priority of the board and management and of the whole organization, developing a culture around that. It's important that we attend to the care and the lives of all those who do the great work for us at Enmax. Our session today has two parts. Our formal annual meeting proceedings, which will happen with the shareholder, Calgary City Council, and then following the termination of the formal portion of the meeting, we'll receive a presentation from Gianna Manis, our President and CEO, on the performance for 2017. I'd like to first welcome and introduce City Council members in their capacity as shareholders of Enmax. And obviously, there's a way to get a grand entrance, and the mayor has learned how to do that. Well, welcome. Okay, Mayor Nenshi, we welcome you, and I don't know if that's a song and dance routine you'd like to do also with that, or if this is going to be sufficient.
You're the one who sings.
Okay. Then this is going to be quite an act. We'd like to welcome our councillors, Joe Maglioka, Diane Coley-Urquhart, Drew Farrell, Jody Gondik, Shane Keating, and I mentioned the mayor, Peter DeMong. Peter and Shane are both members of the board of Enmax, in addition to their roles as councillors at City Council. Jeff Davison, Sean Chu, Ray Jones, Jeremy Farkas, and George Chahal. Welcome all to our city councillors. Absent today, Councillor Giancarlo Carra, Ward Sutherland, and we appreciate the support we've had, and Evan Woolley at this stage. We appreciate the support that we have had from council. We do meet with them regularly and keep them apprised of the ongoing operations of Enmax, and appreciate substantially their support. I'd like to also welcome members of the Enmax board, if they would at least stand as their names are mentioned. Neil Camarda, mentioned Peter DeMong and Shane Keating already. Laura Formusa, Eric Markel, Elise Reese, Charles Rugrock, Richard Shaw, Kathy Sendel, and absent today, Bob Page and Sarah Morgan Sylvester. Over the past few years, we have engaged in board renewal, and as a long-standing members of our board retire, we welcome new directors into our midst. Two of our directors will be retiring at the end of May. They'll be reappointed. They're up for re-election at this meeting, but they will be reappointed. Sarah Morgan Sylvester and Robert Page, who have served this board very well over the years and very distinguished service. We're fortunate to have had their expertise. They will serve out through May to be able to help us finish up our meetings of our board in May. We'd like to also welcome our management team. I welcome Gianna Manus, President and CEO. Helen Wesley, Executive Vice President, Finance and CFO. Dale Mcmaster, Executive Vice President, Power Delivery. James McKee, Executive Vice President, Technical Services. Erica Young, Executive Vice President, Regulatory, Legal, and Public Policy. Patricia McDonald, Executive Vice President, Chief Human Resources Officer. Lonnie Enns, Senior Vice President, Power Supply. Don't see Lonnie here. He's holding the shop and keeping it going, I guess. Tamara Van Brunt, Vice President, Communications and Engagement. Diana Stevenson, Chief of Staff and Shareholder Relations. That's our Enmax Senior Executive Leadership Team. We have been very well served by both an exceptional board and that's part of the recruitment and part of the renewal process that we have for Enmax is that we look to finding the expertise broadly in the fields that we would need as directors, and likewise as management. We're fortunate to have had the leadership of Gianna and her leadership team. Today's annual shareholder meeting and presentation from our CEO will be on the screen. But after we completed our formal business, we'll end our meeting and then receive that presentation. With that, we'll now start the formal procedure of our annual shareholder meeting. As chair, I'd like to call the formal annual shareholder meeting to order. Members of council, you have before you an agenda in your materials as indicated. There are 3 formal matters of business to be presented today. First is receipt of Enmax's 2017 annual audited financial statements as initially delivered to you in March 2018. And the election of our board of directors, secondly, and the appointment of the auditor for 2018. A key element of every board is about governance and creating value for the citizens of Calgary, in this case, and for the shareholder representatives, city council. We've always felt it important that we keep no surprises, that we keep full disclosure, and that we sure that there's transparency in everything that we do, such that this meeting would be a public meeting available to any and all. And we invite that to be the continual style and presentation always. We welcome those comments, not just at an annual shareholder meeting, but as they come forward through city council members to your board and management. We take it seriously, our responsibility to be good citizens and to be serving well, to be providing safe, affordable electricity to the citizens of Alberta and Calgary in particular. Our governance model is very important, that you start from thinking about the right strategies and risks commensurate with your organization, that you consider that you have the right talent and people commensurate to be able to deliver upon those services. And it's with that we've been very supportive of having the backing and I'd say the feedback and direction that we receive from the mayor and council in particular. First item of requiring shareholder receipt is the approval. Before I actually go to that, I'd like to actually turn a few moments over to our mayor for some comments.
Well, thanks very much, Greg, and thank you to all of the board members for your hard work, as well as the amazing women and men who work at Enmax every day. This has been a rough couple of years, and certainly we have made it through as an organization, I think, in a very thoughtful way. As regulatory environments change, as the market and the overall economy shifts, it's very important that this organization continue to be able to be very well run, to be run very ethically, to be run in ways that create value for the citizens of Calgary, who are really the shareholder. You know, we like to say that City Council sits as the shareholder, but it's really the citizens of Calgary who have this utility. And I think that it is particularly important for us to remember why it is that the City of Calgary participates in this business through Enmax. You know, I tell the story many, many times that the reason that I am in politics is because I moved back to Calgary when there was a decision being made by the City Council at the time about the ownership of Enmax. And as someone who'd been away for a while, I read up all the information and went, no, there's really good reasons for the public to maintain an interest in this industry as it's deregulating and changing to ensure that someone is speaking out for what's right for the citizens. And I'm very proud that that City Council at that time, after a contentious election on that issue, as I recall, made that decision to maintain this company, this asset, these people as agents and representatives of the public. And I think that as we go through a period of regulatory change now, I'm hoping at the end of this AGM I might actually understand what a capacity market is. Unfortunately, every time I ask that question, the answer I get is we don't know. But as we go through very significant regulatory change now, it is important to have steady hands on the rudder. It's important to have thoughtful governance from City Council and from the board, but it's also important to have extraordinary management and extraordinary people, extraordinary colleagues who work at Enmax every single day. And luckily, we have all of those things. So I look forward to a good conversation today about where we are at, but more important, about where we're going. And I hope that that is the tenor that we'll be able to take today. So thanks, Greg. I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Your Worship. Mentioned we have gone through and are continuing to go through quite a bit of regulatory change in Alberta with respect to electricity. And I'd like to just say that Enmax is very well positioned to go forward, and very positively so, regardless of whatever directions are taken on the regulatory front, though it does present a substantial challenge in those transition periods, knowing what are the new rules going forward. So we look forward to understanding what a capacity market is as well. We understand what it could be and that there's various forms of it, and we'll find out more of that in days and months in front of us. The first item requiring shareholder approval is the audited financial statements and financial report. The statements were provided by Deloitte LLP and approved by the Enmax board March 2018. May I please have a motion to move the resolution before you? Councillor Peter Demong. Your Worship.
So that was moved by Councillor Demong and seconded by Councillor Keating. You'll get a chance to talk to Gianna when she does the year-end review, but any specific questions on the financials? All right, I'll ask for a preliminary vote on that matter then. All in favor? Any opposed? That's carried, so I'll pass the shareholders' vote in favor of that resolution.
Thank you. We now move to the next item on the agenda, the election of directors. Our board is comprised of experienced and a diverse set of skill sets. That's part of, we ensure that is part of the board, such that we have the right expertise to govern and provide the oversight for this organization. We're proud of the range of industry and business community leadership that has been on our board to provide those perspectives. Subject to today's appointment, the board will continue to govern with a view to serving the shareholder and citizens of Calgary and ensuring Enmax continues to be well positioned to provide those services ahead in changing times that are in front of us. With that, may I have a motion to move the resolution before you for the election of the directors?
Thanks, Councillor Collier-Urquhart. Do I have a seconder, please? Thanks, Councillor Jones. So moved by Councillor Collier-Urquhart, seconded by Councillor Jones. I'll now ask for a preliminary vote on that resolution. All in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. So I will cast the shareholder vote in favor of that resolution as well.
Thank you. The next order of business is the appointment of the external auditor. The Enmax Audit Committee and Board reviewed this item and are recommending the appointment of Deloitte LLP as auditors for Enmax Corporation. The Board is asking for authorization to fix the remuneration of Deloitte for audit work associated with the 2018 fiscal year. May I please have a motion to move the resolution before you?
Councillor Woolley, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Chahal. This is such a great process. For those who are new to this, by the way, it is a fascinating thing. The shareholder has one vote. So I cast the shareholder vote, but I ask them what to do. So that's what we're going through now.
That's like normal.
I guess it is sort of like normal because I don't have to listen to you, but by convention, I can do so. So all in favor? Any opposed? That's carried, thank you, and I'll cast the shareholder vote in favor of that resolution as well.
We're delighted to see that this meeting is like normal for all of your meetings at City Council. I want to thank members of council, and with that, that completes the formal and most exciting part of every annual shareholder meeting. These are riveting events, but very important events. You know, they're substantive in the sense that reviewing operations from last year and approving them, seeing that you have the oversight of the appropriate directors to do such, and likewise to be able to have the opportunity for the great services that we have had from Deloitte as auditors to continue with us for this next year. May I please have a motion to terminate the formal annual shareholder meeting?
Councillor Chu, thank you. Second by Councillor Maglioka. On that, are we agreed? Any opposed? That's carried. So I'll cast the shareholder vote to terminate the meeting.
Thank you. With that, the meeting is terminated, and I'll now turn the time over to Gianna Manis, President and CEO of Enmax Corporation.
Thank you, Greg, and good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure to share with you a review of Enmax's performance and the contributions to our community for 2017. At Enmax, our mission is powering the potential of people, businesses, and communities by safely and responsibly providing electricity and energy services in a way that matters to them now and in the future. We have a proud history of powering Calgarians and Albertans and continue to explore ways to provide solutions and progressive solutions for our customers. In fact, 2018 marks 20 years since we were established as a subsidiary of the City of Calgary, and our story of contribution to our communities and our customers is one that we're very proud of. We remain guided by our shareholders' expectations in how we will continue to create value for the long term, for the benefit of all Calgarians. And it is this commitment that drives everything that we do at Enmax. It inspires us to look to the future and the ways in which we enable our customers and help build our communities. Over the past 2 decades, we have evolved into one of Alberta's most progressive integrated power companies. Today, we deliver electricity here in Calgary as regulated by the Alberta Utilities Commission. And we generate and sell electricity across Alberta's competitive and rapidly evolving electricity market. With just under 10,000 kilometers of wires connecting every corner of our city, we own, operate, maintain, and invest in Calgary's transmission and distribution assets. We also hold legislated responsibility to provide electricity for customers who have not entered into a competitive contract with an electricity retailer. We refer to this that I've just described as our regulated business. We also have power plants totaling 1,614 megawatts of generation capacity, with 86% fueled by Alberta natural gas and the remainder by wind. We are also Alberta's leading retailer of electricity, selling 37% of all electricity consumed in Alberta and 19% of all retail natural gas sales. Also within the Enmax family, we operate Enmax Power Services, which is an integrated engineering, procurement, construction, and maintenance provider of power services and infrastructure for developers, municipalities, utilities, and industrial customers. For example, we work under contract with the City of Calgary to repair Calgary streetlights and also support the power infrastructure of our light rapid transit system here in Calgary. As Calgary's wholly owned subsidiary, we hold a very unique relationship with Calgarians. They are our customers, and they are our owners. To share our story of performance and accomplishments, we've created a storybook of short videos highlighting key areas of our business. After today's presentation, these videos will be available on our website, along with our 2017 Fast Facts brochure outlining some of the key numbers and statistics that you'll see on these videos. Today, and together, these insights into our performance and achievements tell the story of what we accomplished over the last year, starting with our financial results.
2017 was a year of challenge and of recovery. We faced weak market conditions, but also saw growth in Alberta's economy and electricity demand for the first time after approximately 2 years of contraction. Our comparable net earnings were $132 million versus $184.1 million in 2016. These results reflected the anticipated negative impacts to our competitive business from the market weakness and was partially offset by stronger results in other parts of our company. Our power delivery business was a major contributor to our results due to load growth in Calgary and continued investment in our system. And we continue to invest in our transmission and distribution infrastructure in Calgary to ensure safe, reliable access to electricity. We were also able to mitigate some of the negative impact to our earnings by focusing on increasing revenue, cost management, adding value, and expanding our power services business. Overall, we delivered strong results in our operations, maintained a healthy balance sheet, and delivered on our commitment to shareholder value, declaring a $40 million dividend to the City of Calgary. In fact, since our inception in 1998, Enmax has contributed nearly $1 billion in dividends to Calgarians. We are proud of the contributions we have made to Calgary and Alberta, and as we look forward, we are committed to continue delivering value to our customers and shareholder.
As the video mentioned, we saw continued market and economic challenges in Alberta, and Enmax was impacted. However, through disciplined spending, adjusting to the conditions and strong operational performance, we met those challenges and remain on solid financial footing, supporting the retention and stability of our investment-grade credit ratings. We have continued to adapt to changing conditions and will continue as well, and to pursue resolution to issues and challenges. As one example, earlier this year, we were able to successfully resolve the long-standing power purchase arrangement dispute with the provincial government. And behind our numbers is our story of service, both to our customers and to our communities. The safety and health of our team is critical, and I'm pleased to note that we achieved our safety targets in 2017 for safety performance. I want to acknowledge the Enmax team for their commitment to keeping the safety of themselves, their colleagues, and the public as priority one. Whether our service comes in the form of providing competitive energy products and services or building and servicing local electricity infrastructure, the experience of our customers is something we take seriously, as well as how we show up in the communities in which we live and work. Let's take a quick look at the next part of our story now.
Everyone here, no matter what role they're in, has an impact on how we are powering our customers safely and reliably here in Calgary and across Alberta. Whether it be connecting power, maintaining our system, reading meters, or helping a customer understand their bill, we do our best to understand and connect with our customers and respond to their needs and feedback in ways that matter to them. Enmax customers are also our neighbors, and we support the communities where we live and work together. Our team gives back by partnering with organizations that help vulnerable Albertans, from the United Way to the Distress Center to the Aspen Family Network. We also give back through dozens of employee volunteer events and campaigns, and our team contributed over 5,800 volunteer hours in 2017. The value of service, whether it's for our customers or within our communities, is about stepping up and lending a hand, going above and beyond to make someone's day. And it's through this commitment to service that we will continue to power the potential of our customers and our communities.
The high level of customer service I always receive from Enmax and keeping the jobs local are strong reasons for me to continue as an Enmax customer.
Reflecting on the achievements of our team in 2017, although we have challenges ahead of us, we remain well positioned with a proud history of investing in and bringing forward a cleaner energy future. From our unique vantage point with leading reliable delivery of electricity, to owning Alberta's most flexible generation fleet, to pioneering innovative customer products, we see disruption, evolution, and opportunity ahead in our industry. We know that providing electricity that is safe, reliable, affordable, and environmentally responsible does more than just fuel our homes, our business, and our economy. It is the critical foundation for vibrant and healthy communities for people to live and to work. It is about supporting customer needs today and continuously looking ahead to the future. The electricity industry is changing. Technology is ushering in new ways to power our world, such as advancements in renewable energy and more affordable distributed energy sources. Our governments and regulators are right now making significant structural changes that could have impacts for decades to come, and customers' expectations and reliance on our products is increasing daily. The changes are real and are happening today. Earlier this year, the Alberta Utilities Commission implemented new recovery mechanisms for all electricity and gas utilities, lowering the allowed revenue and the effective rate of return while at the same time increasing the risk to the shareholders of these utilities. Today, Alberta is one of the lowest allowed rate of return jurisdictions for utilities in North America, yet one of the greater risk profiles. The implications of these regulatory signals and constraints will likely reduce our investments and profitability over the next 5 years. So we at Enmax are very busy identifying new and innovative ways to operate under these new rules and restrictions. At the same time, the government of Alberta has now advanced a number of legislative changes that are impacting virtually every element of the electricity sector. The regulations to fully implement these new requirements will follow. The impact to Enmax is uncertain, so we're actively working with government, applicable agencies, and our peers in the industry to help shape our future. Alberta cannot afford to get these new rules wrong. We must get them right. We must act in the interest of all customers in Alberta to ensure that these new rules are practical, fair, and sustainable without negative, unintended consequences. We know the changes happening in our industry go well beyond the borders of our province and our city, and it is our job as a power company to ensure those changes are ushered in with the interests of our customers at the forefront. Let's take a moment to look at our next video.
Change is a constant that surrounds us. From the way we live to the way we work and play, the world is evolving, and we are evolving with it. And when you look across this sea of change, what powers innovation, brings our ideas to life? It is electricity, and it fuels our economy, lights our homes and businesses, and unleashes the potential of our creativity and technology. Energy connects us. At Enmax, we know what it takes to power the potential of people and communities. We deliver safe, reliable electricity in the face of constant change, and are proud of our history of innovation we've created here in Calgary and across Alberta. And it is from this experience that we are poised to enable the next chapter of change. And this time, it's about the change around us and within us. The world of electricity itself is transforming, and we know that planning for the future means ensuring that our customers and communities are enabled to benefit from the energy opportunities that it will bring. To do this, we are advancing grid transformation. From the rise of electricity as a fuel source in transportation to the growth in energy trends like batteries, we're exploring what the electricity network of the future needs to connect and support. Changing customer expectations. We are committed to fostering customer engagement in their energy use and will continue to play a leading role in offering the services and products they need. And beyond the household, we are also advancing new ways of partnering with municipalities and large customers to solve their energy problems and support them in their energy opportunities. We are enabling distributed energy resources and will leverage our leadership position by continuing to bring innovative energy solutions forward. To support our collective energy future, our team also ensures that the reliability of our transmission, distribution, and generation remains at the forefront, and that we embrace technology and our spirit of innovation. We understand how the industry is changing, not only here, but around the world. And we are enabling these changes for the benefit of our customers, communities, and our team. So here at Enmax, we're not guessing about our future. We're shaping it.
Thank you for the opportunity today to tell our story, and we look forward to sharing these videos with Calgarians. We'll be posting them again online after this meeting. As you've heard many times already today, these are changing times in our electricity sector. Throughout our history, Enmax has been successful in adapting to changes in our environment, and we will continue to do so going forward. There is much work ahead. In looking ahead, Enmax is focusing our strategy on building on our strengths and customer relationships, delivery of electricity and electricity services, and on bringing integrated solutions to our customers' energy challenges, with a particular emphasis on municipal partnerships like we have with the City of Calgary. In closing, I want to recognize the contributions of the Enmax team. Our success is a direct result of their efforts and dedication to living our values and delivering on our mission every day. And thank you to our customers. You inspire us to work hard for you every day and are at the center of all that we do. I'd also like to extend a thank you to those of you who have taken the time to be with us here today. We're here to answer the questions that you may have. Thank you.
With that, I'd like to also thank everyone for taking the time to join us today. Enmax success really does start by the support of Calgarians, really as shareholders, to their city council as city shareholder representatives. But it goes back to each and all of the employees every day of Enmax that come to work, who are dedicated. We have really an exceptional group of talented individuals with the expertise to not only provide services what we've done in the past, but really to shape the future and go forward. Enmax does and will continue to have a very bright future, and we're well positioned for that. I'd like to open this time of our meeting for questions that you may have. There's microphones on either side. As you come to a microphone, I'd ask that you first state your name and then your question. Thank you. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Melchin and Ms. Mays and councillors and the mayor. My name is Dr. Joe Vipond. I'm a member of the Canadian Association of Physicians for the Environment, and I'm a proud Enmax customer. I'm also a father of 2 young children and a citizen of this great city. I just want to take a moment to reflect on the great opportunity that we have here in owning our own municipal utility. This is relatively unique. And I think up to this point it's been taken for granted that this is a convenient revenue generating machine and a supplier of services to the city. But it could be so much more. It could act as a force of social good, where the bottom line is not how much money we generate, but how much better we make the community. So I have 2 simple suggestions that I'd like some comments on maybe as to how to be that better company. The first is we need to set some Ghg targets for the company. This is pretty standard across the industrial commercial landscape nowadays. I don't see it happening here. The city itself has targets for 2020 and 2030, and as a subset of the city, I think Enmax needs to be part of that plan. So the scientists tell us that we need to reduce our GHG emissions as a planet by 2% per year until 2020. And so I would suggest that this is a good starting point for the company to be looking at in order to meet our 2-degree temperature scenario. The second, I think even more important suggestion is to create a position for an officer of sustainability. So you have officers of human resources and finance, and yet I don't see sustainability being on that list. So we need somebody who's an advocate for and also accountable for the environmental and climate sustainability objectives for the company. This is not radical. This is a very common thing, once again, in commercial companies such as Apple, Google, and Suncor, who all have an important management focus on this. So if any of the councillors and management would ever like to sit down and chat about this, I'd like to, at another venue or even now, I'd be happy to oblige. Thanks for allowing me to take a moment to discuss this with you.
Thank you. I'll have our CEO, Gianna Manis, comment, but I'd like to first say, with respect to Ghg targets, Enmax has had targets in the past with respect to reductions in GHG. The plan has always been, along with our generation, that we were migrating from coal to the best and most reliable natural gas-fired plants that we can. And we have the leading Shepherd itself, been commissioned a couple of years ago, has really got the latest and best of technologies in natural gas and very efficient, both environmentally and operationally. And so we're quite proud of the fact that we have migrated really from coal to a cleaner burning. We're a larger supplier of solar and really a large supplier of wind. And we do look at a lot of these opportunities for how could we position ourselves with respect to environmental footprint, to GHG and others. But I'll have Gianna comment as well.
Yes, well, first of all, is it on? Are we good? Dr. Vipon, thank you for coming. I know that our team has often engaged with you throughout the years as Alberta has been working on a variety of these policies, and your input is always really helpful. And I mean, as just a couple of comments around it, and I think that we're going to take your suggestions away on the point of GHG. Enmax agrees with you that we need to continue to run our business in a way that's sustainable and gets better every day on all elements, whether it's better safety record, better, more efficient use of our resources, and also cleaner. So 10 years ago, if we, at this AGM, you would have heard that 100% of Enmax's electricity supply came from coal. Today, our electricity generation fleet is 86% natural gas and 14% wind. And we were very intentional in migrating. We have supported district energy in this building here in trying to help reduce the overall GHG footprint of downtown Calgary. But I would say the environmental responsibility goes well beyond just GHG. It's reducing waste, it's reducing trash waste, it's in everything we do, and we do really take that seriously. And we have done a lot. But our motto at Enmax is you need to get better every day, so you need to keep going for those goals. I think that your point about an officer of sustainability, will certainly take that under consideration, but I also want to equate it a little bit to safety. In our company, safety is core to who we are, and while we might have someone focusing and responsible for keeping up with our safety statistics and helping us get better, safety is the responsibility and accountability of everyone in everything we do. We take the same approach to sustainability. So while you might not see it packaged as something independent and separate, the reason you don't any longer is because it is core to the decisions we make on everything that we do. It's not a separate initiative. And so, like I said, our goal is to keep getting better, use more advanced technologies, continue to keep that front of mind, but it's present in all of our decisions whether or not we have somebody with the title or not. You heard in the video, and one of the things I want to point out as Enmax is focusing our future strategy on enabling distributed energy resources, things like solar on the roof as one example, battery storage, and we're really excited. The electrification of transportation. As the electricity industry gets cleaner here in Alberta and actually across our country, it's a great opportunity to partner with the electricity industry with new technologies to continue to electrify transportation. And that is a big focus of us going forward. So meets sustainability objectives, also meets objectives of cost, and really positions us to enable the energy future of tomorrow. So look forward to more conversations, but wanted to point out a few of those things for you.
Thank you. Other questions? Councillor Farrell.
We need.
Yeah, there's
Actually, so we can probably take that mic off, I think, and hand it to you. Sorry about that. No, you didn't. Yeah.
Nobody asked Joe to be in charge of technology.
Test.
Nicely done, Councillor Maglioka.
Thank you, Joe.
One detail missed.
I wanted to follow up on that conversation. I was very pleased to see climate change as a topic in your report. I think last year it wasn't mentioned, but the environment was. And I'm wondering, the city is engaging in a climate change strategy. We have a resilient cities that we're participating with, and climate change has been identified as one of the top risks for the city. And so are you working with the Resilient Cities Group and the climate change strategy? Because it's not just about following, and I looked at your climate change text in the report, it's following the public rather than leading, and Enmax has the great ability and advantage of being leaders, and please don't be shy about talking about that. So are you working with the city on developing these two very important strategies?
I'm looking at James McKee. I'm gonna let, actually, James, go that way because there's the microphone. I'm gonna let James McKee, who, James focuses on all of these new technologies and all of our customer relationships, including the city. So I'll let James speak about that a little bit.
Thank you. The short answer is yes. And we engage with the City of Calgary on a number of levels. As you saw today, we provide a lot of services to Calgary and Calgarians. But in addition to that, we work on a number of initiatives that support the climate change mandate that the city has. And I'm sure you can appreciate it's broad and it affects everything that you do. So we're engaged at a number of levels on quite a number of initiatives that are directly designed to impact and reduce the impact on climate change.
Thank you. So a follow-up question then on that one is we're undertaking the green line, and we've been talking about green energy. That was part of the whole terms of reference to the province and the federal government. And also we're developing strategies around transit-oriented development. So high-density communities at LRT stops. Big opportunity for district energy, and then, of course, the green energy for the train itself. So any updates on those two big initiatives?
So I think you're aware of the Green Line and where it is in its development process. So we're engaged with the whole Green Line team, as well as with some of the other corporate teams on how to power the Green Line, as well as what types of energy resources are required to fulfill the needs of a transit-oriented development strategy around the stations at Green Line. So yes.
Thank you. Other questions? Oh, please, Diane. It's probably on.
I think it's on.
It's on.
Okay, there we go. Just to follow up on Councillor Farrell's question, at the Utilities and Corporate Services Committee is where we sort of define and articulate our climate action plan. And we've had ATCO there speaking to some of our initiatives and all the things they're doing. So I would encourage Enmax to participate at standing policy committees as one of the greatest assets that the citizens of Calgary own. So it's an open invitation, if you will. Mr. Chairman, I'm sure I'll be a bit harsher than you or our CEO would be. I have never, in the 18 years that I've been on council, seen a more highly regulated industry than it is today. It's a huge misnomer to call this a deregulated market when there are all kinds of regulations coming forward each and every, I'll say, month. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. It's almost as if it's heresy to make a profit these days in this province. So I think we should put it out there. And I'd like to hear your views on how difficult it is for companies such as our Enmax to be strategic and even try to be a little bit competitive in the current environment that we're working in. Thank you.
So we talked earlier about the definition of sustainability, and it was obviously based on the question, the emphasis of the answer around that sustainability was around environmental sustainability. But there's also economic sustainability and viability of companies in the sector to be able to continue to do the good work, have reasonable profits to be able to then reinvest that into our communities, continue to offer the jobs within our communities as well. So when I talk about the challenges or our focus on sustainability, it really is also the sustainability of the enterprise as a going concern. And I think that when we look at the variety of policies, I agree with you. I think we say that we are differently regulated on different parts of our industry, but there is no such thing as deregulation in the electricity sector. And we understand why, and it really is for good reason. I mean, this is a lifeline business, and we appreciate that everyone does use our services, and we carve the industry up in different ways. But I think the challenge that we are facing is that Alberta is undergoing structural, foundational changes to the rules of the electricity sector, whether it is the monopoly regulated side on the wires coming from the Utility Commission, or whether it is the differently regulated competitive generation and sales of electricity. And I'd say that the rules that are being written now in the legislation and the regulations are the most foundational changes Alberta has seen in 20 years, and it's being done at a fairly rapid pace. So I would like to be able to say we know exactly how all this plays out, but right now, this is a true instance of devil in the details. And we continue to work constructively with the government of Alberta. They certainly, we make our voices heard. And also with our peer utilities and our peer industry companies to try to ensure that whatever rules we get and whatever the policies are, that they're fair and they're balanced. Customers have to be at the center of this, but if we get this wrong, yes, customers and companies like Enmax in the near term will be financially hurt if we get it wrong, but at the end of the day, who really pays are Albertans. And eventually this makes its way through, whether it is through subsidies that are then covered by the government, but eventually taxpayer money has to pay those subsidies. So it's really, really important, and Enmax is working very hard to make sure that all these different puzzle pieces that make up the delivery of the generation and delivery of electricity, they must fit together in a way that makes sense as a whole. Keeps things like sustainability in the environmental sense. That is important, but we also need to make sure that we do it in a way that is affordable and continues to support reliability, because we all know that with every day that goes by, we are increasingly reliant on this lifeline service to be able to power our communities. And without it, we've got other much greater issues. So we hear your concerns, and I know we were not all that specific on what are the impacts of these right now to Enmax. We have them to varying degrees as new regulations come out, but I can tell you it is uncertain times. Our strategy going forward, Enmax is focused on making sure that what we can control and what we can build on our strengths, we do it to the best of our ability and try to navigate through all of these changing times to make sure that we continue to be a solid company for Calgarians.
Electricity is such a fundamental need in our society. We rely upon it every day to turn on the lights. It powers everything we do. And seeing that we can provide reliable, affordable, responsible energy is at the heart of what we do. We are best positioned in some respects. We're the most fully integrated utility in Alberta, with the largest retail customer base. We supply a lot of our own generation. We have the wires of transmission and distribution to the customers itself. We're more customer-centric focused because of our positioning in the whole utility sector, that we do want to be there with those making decisions, because we probably have a broader perspective on regulatory change and how efficient that could be to benefit not just the social, but also the financial kinds of aspects and the affordability ultimately to all Albertans for how they power themselves. So stay tuned, and we hope that we can help affect the right positive changes in that regard.
Thank you. I have a question. Tesla, the new Tesla pre-sales in Calgary were, I think, one of the highest in the country, if not North America. What is Enmax's role in building electric charging stations, or what is that opportunity in terms of infrastructure on building some of that, and what are the business opportunities around that?
I'm going to look to a couple other people. Dale, perhaps talk just a moment about our what we're doing on our system. As Dale goes to the mic, I'll just set the stage for what Dale Mcmaster is our Chief Operating Officer, and he's responsible all of our both our plant operations and all of our wires operations in Calgary. And when we talk, I mean, the Tesla example, it sounds like a simple thing to just put a charger, charging infrastructure, but it actually is much broader than that. Is what we're positioning for is electrification of transportation and vehicles, storage at the home, distributed energy. These are fundamentally changing how our local grid has to work and operate, has to be able to move electricity two directions. It's for the last 100 years, it's been a one-way street. We've got to go to a two-way street. And there's a lot of investment to enable that, but that is core to our strategy. So Dale, just talk perhaps a few minutes on that.
Yeah, electric vehicles and charging are presenting, or will present more and more as time goes by, a significant challenge for us. As Gianna just said, one of the primary challenges is the system is designed for one-way flow of electricity. And as we start talking about distribution connected generation, and I can possibly associate cars with that they become not only a source of load but also a potential source of supply, that it presents a significant technical challenge for us. One thing, just before I get to the nub of your question I was going to elaborate on, I wanted to just say that one electric vehicle in a neighborhood, no problem. Put 20 or 30 electric vehicles in a neighborhood, and now it starts challenging the capacity of the electric system when the cars are being charged and so on. So it's something that's very much on our minds, very much on our radar screen in terms of evaluating how we're going to deal with this. And but that is a bit down the road. Coming back to charging stations themselves, it's an interesting business proposition, because if we view it from both the regulated side of the business, with the wire side, and then also from the unregulated side of the business, which might present a commercial opportunity. In terms of the regulated business, we're certainly interested in providing the electrical infrastructure that brings us to the charging station itself. The question might be who should own the charging station, and that's a question that's still up in the air. I can see a role for the regulated side of the business to own that, but we've already talked about the regulatory challenges around that. If we're going to get into that business, it has to be accommodated within the regulated framework, the regulatory framework. On the other hand, I can also see a role for the unregulated side of the business to get involved in it. Or perhaps our role is just limited to facilitating somebody else doing it, being a good business partner and making sure that we've got the infrastructure in place to support it. But right now, one of the things we are doing is talking with the city actually on electric vehicle charging, the concept of electric vehicle charging within the city, and actually as part of a provincial problem, a provincial initiative around electric vehicles. So let me just say it's a work in progress, lots of things to think about, and but know that it does take a priority with us.
Let me just add one more thing. One more thing, going back to the comment of regulation. One of the things that we are dealing with right now is the decisions that are being made by the Utility Commission of Alberta have great impact. And one of the challenges that has recently emerged is that we've often fraught with unintended consequences. And one of the challenges that's recently emerged with one of the commission decisions that we have recently, that we were mentioning, is it actually makes it more difficult for utilities like Enmax to invest in new technologies, and in many ways is encouraging us to just replace old stuff with 1950s old stuff, more new old technology. And we are working very actively with our peers in the industry. We've had conversations with the government of Alberta pointing out this disconnect between the need to have active support. There is amazing technology that is emerging in our space, and much of it isn't so new that it's risky technology. This is proven technology, but Unfortunately, our ability to implement this, invest in it in a way that actually allows us to get some reasonable recovery or even recovery of our basic costs is currently being challenged. So when you hear us, our hesitancy is not that we aren't interested and we don't believe in that. That is the direction that our strategy is moving in. Our challenge is the rules are not enabling us to do that in a way that makes sense, in a balanced way, back to that shareholder value. So we're working on it. We're encouraging Alberta to look at other locations in Canada and in the US who figured out how to balance encouraging new technologies and make sure that utilities can actually invest in these in a way that makes sense. So there are a few hurdles and barriers, and then that's what you're hearing us talk about. Long time, I believe this is a near-term problem. I believe that Enmax, I know that Enmax is going to work every day to try to knock these barriers down in a way that makes sense. But what you're hearing from us today is they are indeed some barriers that are slowing us down and are impacting our ability to jump in with both feet.
In light of time, is there another question? Then we may have to conclude our meeting. If not, I want to thank everybody once again for taking the time and to show your interest, attending our annual shareholder meeting. My thanks specifically to City Council for their support ongoing and for your attendance here today. I suspect you've got more annual shareholder meetings to attend through the day. And
15 whole minutes before the next one.
And so with that, we'll bring this meeting to a conclusion. Thank you.
Thank you.